Greetings, family. Come on in. Got another banger for you today. Today, we're going to discuss emotion. Emotion, okay? We have to realize how powerful it is to understand and control our emotions and to not get caught up in a cycle of responding because we are led by emotions or acting out emotionally and doing something that we may regret later in the future. So let's break down the word emotion, okay? Because emotions is how they manipulate and control you. And if you have no sovereignty over yourself, meaning to be able to control your emotions, you are easily led astray. They can easily manipulate you into acting the way they want or behaving in such a way because you are triggered by an emotion that is brought up. Okay, so it's very important that we know and control our own emotions. In that way, we're empowered, less manipulated, and more in control of our sovereign self. Okay, so emotion, let's break down that word emotion. E for energy and motion, energy in motion. Okay, so emotion is energy that's in motion. Okay, so what is energy? Energy is measured by wavelengths. This is a wave. The length of the wave is how many times it gets to a certain point. Okay? That's one wave. A shorter wave would be like this. Okay? Long wave, short wave. Okay? So that's how you define a certain frequency by its wavelength. Longer, slower wavelengths represent lower level emotions. Longer, slower level wavelengths represents your lower self, which is fear, which is hate, which is jealousy, which is grief. Okay, so when you want to see fear, if you could see fear, it would look like low and slow wavelength. Okay, so low, slow wavelengths, frequencies represents lower level behavior, fear, jealousy, envy, anger, hate, self-doubt, ability not to forgive, everything that's the ego. Okay? Faster, shorter wavelengths represents higher frequencies, which represents a higher energy in motion, which is love, which is gratitude, which is forgiveness, humility, compassion, empathy, nurturing, selflessness, right? Love looks like this: faster, shorter wavelengths, okay? Higher frequencies, higher emotions, such as love, lower frequencies, lower emotions, such as fear. The epitome of lower level frequency is fear and everything based around that. And the epitome or foundation of higher frequencies is based on love and everything that surrounds that aspect of it. Okay, why is this important? You measure energy by wavelengths. You can also measure energy by the photons it releases, which is particles of light. This is where you get the measurement of a photon. Is called a cal, like in calorie, and basically says how much heat does that energy give off at a given time. Okay? For instance, like we measure our calorie or caloric intake. Okay, so let's say 1 calorie can fuel us walking 1 step Inhaling and exhaling. Say that's 1 calorie of energy that we expend. And that's how much heat that we give off. Okay? So 100 calories, let's say, represents 100 steps or 100 inhale and exhale breaths. So that heat or that energy that gives off will propel us for 100 steps, which equals to 100 calories. This is hypothetical. Don't take me literal on this, but it's the concept. Okay? So knowing that energy is differentiated by wavelengths, fast or slow, long or short, and how much heat it gives off. Okay, now we can get into emotions, energy and motion, right? So we now know what love looks like. We know how much love energy it gives off. It has a frequency of 528 hertz. 528 hertz. Okay, cycles per second. That's how fast it's going. 528. Okay. Why is this important when we're talking about emotions? Because I said before, they use our emotions to manipulate our behavior. Because we are operating in an emotional state, which means they can do a problem, they know how we're going to react, and now they have the solution for that problem. Problem, reaction, solution, based on humans' emotional state. What do I mean? How can I manipulate a child's emotion? If I want that child to be my friend, what would you do for that child? First thing, you give candy. First thing, you let that child do whatever it wants. No discipline, right? Just let it be free and roam around, right? That response, that child will be happy, right? So that wavelength will be going 9,000. You give that child whatever he wants to eat. That child is going to be like, you're the greatest thing ever. I'm feeling you. I'm doing this, right? So now you can come behind that and say, you know what, little Johnny, can I borrow that $5 in your piggy bank? Sure, because he's in a loving, giving mood. And now it's easy to take from him. You don't have to steal it. You can just take it from him. Okay, so on the other spectrum of that, if I want that child to be fearful of me, right? I will yell at that child. I will nitpick everything that child does is going to be wrong. And I'm going to chastise him for that, right? I'm going to physically abuse him, mentally abuse him, emotionally just play with his emotions. Nothing that he does is going to be right. And I'm not going to praise him for anything, and I'm going to ridicule him for everything. Now he's in a state of fear, emotional state of fear. So what is some aspects of fear? Closing up. Okay? Remember the love and everything is good. He opens up and gives you whatever. Now fear-based people close up. So if I want him to stay in his room, I don't even have to tell him to stay in his room. He's going to stay in there for fear of coming out and having to deal with my wrath. So now I'm able to manipulate his behavior by staying in his room, which is what I always wanted, at the time. That's why I did that. If I'm diabolical, of course, we're talking about it. Okay? Also in a fearful state, all you want is the fear or pain to go away. Now you're willing to bargain and do things that you would not otherwise do in a right state of mind, but now you just want it to go away. 9/11. I don't want them to put planes through my house or my workplace. So you guys do whatever you have to do to make sure that I'm secure because I'm living in fear. Now that means giving up my rights. I'll give up my rights. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just promise me that my fear will be alleviated. So you create the problem. You know the reaction the people are going to give you through emotion. And then you have the solution for them. Okay? So you can do this on any level for whatever emotional state that you can force the person to adopt without them knowing it, if you know how they will react emotionally, you can already have the solution for them over here. Thus, they become your slave without them even knowing it. They become a slave without any whips or chains. They become a slave because now you can manipulate their emotional state of mind. How else can you do emotions? If you're diabolical, like the system is, you understand a person's upbringing. You understand a person's triggers. You understand what makes a person happy, what makes them sad, what makes them fearful, what makes them spend money, what makes them be selfish. You understand the emotional state that this person has when you trigger them with certain idiosyncrasies that you bring up. Now you're able to play them like a puppet. This is pimpology. This is politics, right? This is how the system manipulates you, where you give up your freedom without even being threatened, because they know how all the right buttons to push. And trust me, anywhere from politics, advertisement, the medical industry, the food industry, entertainment, everyone is playing you for a puppet. Everyone is putting out frequencies to get the desired emotional reaction from you that they want in order to extract something from you. And they don't even have to steal it, you'll give it to them. That's the biggest pimp game in the world. And it's being played 24 hours, 7 days a week on you. Your emotions are being manipulated and controlled. So you must take back your emotions and be proactive instead of reactive to everything that happens. You know, I know right now YouTube is flooded with gossiping this and this is going on and this is going on, and they just got you on a string in lower level frequencies, because that's what gossip is. That's what all this is. You need to tune all that out and reclaim your emotional state for you and make sure that it does not fall below a certain state or frequency, even though you're being bombarded. Remember, knowing is half the battle. Now that you know that you are being manipulated through your emotions, you can take your emotion back if you have done the work, if you have no triggers, if you have no insecurities, if you have knowledge of self and have controlled your ego. Now emotions do not come into play, and now there's no trigger to set you off. And that's what we want to do as humans, to reach a level of maturity, emotional maturity, so that we cannot be manipulated just by a word, just by an event. All of a sudden, all logic goes out the window, and now we're in fear base, and now we'll do anything because we just want to feel protected and safe. Okay? So, emotions, energy in motion, learn it, study it, know thyself, and empower yourself. In that way, no one will have power over you. Peace, y'all.